Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me for the security news update for October 22nd, 2023. In the warnings or alerts department, um, we're seeing, and I saw this personally, some interesting occurrences in Android 14. It just released. A lot of chatter out there on social media, and I'm seeing some problems with random reboots, battery drain, core system components crashing. So I would say probably would be smart to avoid Android 14 at least for a couple of months until they put out a few patch releases and get it stable. I'm not sure how widespread it is, but I am seeing significant chatter on social media. And next, also in the alerts department, Signal is they say debunking a report that there is a zero-day vulnerability in Signal. They're saying that's not true. They are saying that there is, and it's well known, that there is some metadata leaks as a result of turning on preview links. So they recommend turning that off. It's easy to do. Probably for 99% of people will have zero impact on using the software. So I think that's probably a good thing to do. But the reports are that 0 days for Signal sell for as much as $8 million. So if you got one, you're set, I think. But for the rest of us, I think we're safe. I think. In the reference department, the European Union is releasing climate disclosure rules for corporations that sell in the European Union or raise money on the European stock exchanges. Um, it's requiring you to disclose basically what's the environmental impact of your company. Uh, the U.S. is also moving in the same direction, but really, really slowly. The Europeans just said, just do it. Um, and how that's going to affect American companies is if you're raising money, if you're an American company, you're basically doing business or raising money in Europe, you're going to be required to disclose that. The estimates are that about 3,000 U.S. companies will fall under this regime by 2025. And how it might affect you is that this will trickle down into the supply chain. So if you sell to these companies, you may be required to report to them what your environmental impact is. In the software and hardware department, it looks like after 25 years, Microsoft is finally going to phase out NT Land Manager. It's a protocol that was around since the early 1990s. It's not secure. Microsoft's been telling people for 10 years not to use it. They keep putting Band-Aids on it, but it looks like they're finally going to rip off the Band-Aid. I think probably the reason why they haven't ripped off that Band-Aid yet is because there are Microsoft components that use it, and I don't think they exactly understand what those components are and what the impact is. So, but it looks like they're working on it, and you might want to get a head start by turning off Land Manager and see what breaks inside your network. Do this in a test environment, please. And so that way, when they remove it, you'll know what to look for to see whether things have been fixed by vendors of other pieces of software. In the important issues department, it was reported early this week that about 10,000 Cisco iOS XE devices had been hacked in the 0-day attack. The number now has shot up to about 40,000 devices. And the problem is that Cisco, like a lot of other large companies, they've got software out there that's been around for decades. Nobody knows how it works. The people who wrote it have long since left the company, and they kind of tiptoe around it, make sure they hopefully don't break it. Microsoft is well known for doing this, and I think a lot of other companies. And it's coming back to bite them because this code is not safe at any speed. It wasn't written with secure software development practices in mind, and it wasn't written using memory safe programming languages. So, with all of that, I think we'll continue to see a lot of these patches for a long, long time. Next, an interesting thing, unless you're the head of the African Union, Apparently, a deep fake has been setting up meetings, excuse me, with European leaders and having conversations with them. It's good enough that it's fooling these guys. The African Union says they're gonna solve this security conundrum. They're gonna go back to paper and pencil because obviously nobody ever forged a piece of paper, so they should be safe, right? As a result of that. But it is interesting. It kind of shows where the world of AI is going, and obviously, if it can be used for bad, it will be used for bad. That's just sort of the nature of the game, unfortunately. Next, in the legal department, Arkansas has fined a Chinese company for owning farmland in Arkansas. The Arkansas Act 636 of 2023 prohibits Chinese companies and North Korean companies. Basically, there's like 3 or 4 countries. Um, the Attorney General has told this company, Syngenta, they make seeds, that they have to sell 160 acres that they own within 2 years and fine them $280,000. Syngenta is owned by ChemChina, which is designated as a Chinese military company, which is not a ban on doing business with them. It's just kind of a warning label. Um, will China fight this? I don't know. I have no clue. Do they care? Will the court say this is legal? A lot of questions. This is the first time this has happened. Next, also in the legal department, the FCC is reopening the net neutrality conversation. We saw during the COVID lockdown that there's a lot of people who don't have access, affordable access, or any access to broadband internet. It's a real problem, and it's a real problem in underserved communities. I don't exactly live in an underserved community. I'm basically in Metro Denver, and the internet service options that I have are really pretty crummy. It's bad and badder, and I suspect that there's a lot of folks who aren't in the middle of a town somewheres where the internet options are not great. In the education department, we're seeing the fake browser update scam is rearing its ugly head. What the bad guys are doing this time is they're compromising websites. When you go to the website claims to say that you need a browser update. Of course, it's not a browser update, and it's not the website saying it. The website is compromised. The net result is that people fall for this because they trust the website that they went to, and as a result, they compromise their computers. So, not a great situation. In the breaches, by the way, what we got to do there is really much more active, aggressive training of our users to for them to understand what's legit and what's not legit, because right now it's a real challenge. In the breaches department, the Move It breach continues to suck up oxygen, and now it's over 2,500 organizations, over 65 million people. Um, Proctor Software says it's only spent about $2.9 million on the breach, and I think that's because, for the most part, if let's say IBM, which they were, it was using Progress, and they reported thousands of people, information was compromised, or the state of Colorado was using it, and they were talking about hundreds of thousands of people. Well, those organizations are the ones that are spending the money. So, but they'll come back and ask for reimbursement, shall we say. Um, Next, the Kansas court system is shut down their electronic systems after a cyber attack. They're not saying much about what's going on. Some Kansas City courts are not Kansas City, but city courts in Kansas are either closed or using paper. The Kansas Supreme Court has reverted to paper. Um, they don't seem to know what happened and when systems will be back up. Uh, the Topeka probation department is closed. They're trying to figure out whether the infection is contagious or not. I don't think I'd want to be a public sector CISO right now. They have no budget. The politicians don't want to spend money on problems that don't help them get reelected. And the blame goes to the person who has no control over anything. But they do get the blame for it. Convenience store gas station operator Quick Trip was hit by a cyber attack. They're playing the ostrich game. They're not really saying what's going on. Reports are that the rewards program is down. Their support systems are down. Their phones and email are down. But they're not saying what's going on. So, um, I don't think the ostrich model works. I think people assume the worst. And from a reputation standpoint, if you're a gas station convenience store operator, people just go to the next store. They don't really care. Um, they're saying that there's no evidence suggesting that the data was stolen. That's a pretty weak statement, right? If you don't have any logs, then you won't have any evidence. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen, kind of if the tree falls in the forest, nobody's there kind of conversation. So definitely not something that would give me a lot of confidence in terms of what they're saying. Next, this is kind of interesting. Armed America radio host Mark Walters is suing OpenAI because OpenAI apparently was reporting that he was being sued for embezzling money. A reporter picked this up and ran with it, wrote the story, published it, and needless to say, his reputation is suffering. Uh, but OpenAI says not to worry because our license agreement says that you can't really trust our software, but you should pay us for it, right? So we shall see where this goes. This is going to be a long time before it's resolved, and I suspect this is far from the last one of these kind of lawsuits because the reality is these uh, GPT general generative pre-trained transformer models, they're just not accurate. I mean, I use them all the time, but you got to check everything you get back. Um, and next, I have a thought, sort of tongue in cheek, but also half serious. The core problem with cybersecurity and privacy laws. Check the blog for what my thoughts are on that, and let me know if you think that that's accurate. Insanity has been said by reputed to have been said by many different people that is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Um, I call that cryptocurrency. The New York is now suing several cryptocurrency exchanges after they defrauded 250,000 investors out of over $1 billion. And of course, guess who's not getting any money back? But they were hoping for a quick win and making a lot of money, and instead, they lost their money. And some people, these are not qualified investors. These are, people who really should not be investing in cryptocurrency, but they get lured in. And finally, in the news bites department, regulators, insurers, and customers are all going after Progress Software. They've got dozens and dozens of lawsuits from all these people, and investigations, and companies who were breached are coming after them for costs that they've spent. We shall see where that goes. It's going to be years before this is all sorted out, but it's going to be really, really ugly for Progress for a while. Next, Twitter usage is still down worldwide, double digits down, so it's down quite a bit. On the other hand, TikTok usage is up. So I don't know whether that's just because people don't like the Twitter platform and they think that TikTok is better or what, but not doesn't bode well for Twitter. Microsoft is extending its Purview audit log retention period after a July breach. They got their arms twisted by Homeland Security, and they've just doubled the length of time that they are going to be keeping logs and making them available. There's a whole bunch of logs that are now part of that were used to cost money that are now free. If you haven't checked that out, you definitely should. And if you have questions, then reach out to us, please. Next, we're seeing an uptick in email bomb threats, and the challenge, of course, is what do you do? Do you just kind of assume that they're all bogus and then hope nothing blows up? That's not great. Do you have a process inside your company for what a person is an employee is supposed to do if they receive one of these emails? Do you have a process for what you're supposed to do if you as a company get one of these emails? So if you don't, now would be a good time to go ponder that and come up with a plan of action. And lastly, deep fake porn. That's where you take somebody's face and put it using AI, typically put it on another person's body, typically a naked body. um, and then publish it. We're seeing some of this for money, but a lot of it is for revenge. And even though there are revenge laws in some states, um, it's a challenge to actually get a prosecutor to take it up. And I think the people who are suffering the most are young people, like high school kids and college kids who are super embarrassed by, what, and it's not them, right? It's their face, but it's not their body. But it's nonetheless, it's embarrassing. They get hassled, harassed, and it's not great. I am sure that there will be laws coming out over time trying to rein this in, but I think it's a challenge, and I don't think politicians will have a great solution for it. So we shall see. If you need assistance with any of these areas, obviously, please reach out to us. We'd love to assist you. And until next time, stay safe.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.